All right, glad to have you here. Welcome to the program. Thanks a lot for stopping by. It is the town hall meeting. I'm extremely pleased to have as part of my show today, so the ratings will go through the roof, Todd Schnitt, nationally syndicated talk show host. He also is on our sister station, The Patriot. Todd, thanks, brother.
It is my pleasure to be here. San Antonio is fantastic. Confession, first time in San Antonio. I love it. Except, has anyone noticed the GPS is really bad in San Antonio? I don't know what it is, all the feeder roads and the loops and the west and the north and the this and that and this feeder road. My GPS doesn't work very well.
You'll find out that we've got an inner loop and outer loop. If you know those two, 20 minutes to anywhere.
How about a Fruit Loop?
You could have a Fruit Loop, which is why we're doing this today, as a matter of fact. All right, so it is our town hall meeting 2012. We've got our primary next Tuesday, which means absolutely nothing nationally. Mitt Romney is the guy, although many of you sitting here might think, no, Ron Paul has a chance. No, he doesn't.
Well, hold on a minute.
He has no chance, Todd.
I had a Ron.
I have spoken.
But I had a Rontard call my show and said that he is going to have a chance. That wait and see.
It's funny. You call them Rontards?
Palsy's a Rontard.
I call them Paul bots.
Yeah.
The Ron Paul people are convinced that there's a plan to have a brokered convention. They're going to go down there. Ron Paul is going to literally grab the delegates away from Mitt Romney by, I guess, a way of trance or something, and they're going to follow him, and then they're going to say, okay, Ron Paul's the next guy, and then he'll lose miserably to Obama. The thing is, Ron Paul should have a voice at the convention. People agree with that? You think he should have a voice at the convention? I think he should. Yeah. I think he should have a voice at the convention. I think he'd be a great head of the Fed. I think he'd be a great IRS guy, a Treasury guy. Beyond that, let's go ahead and leave Ron Paul alone. That's I'm just saying.
You know, the bottom line is Ron Paul is about 80% sane. I mean,
I thought you were going to say he was about 80 years old.
No,
because he is.
Well, that too. But he's about 85% sane.
Right.
And I like a lot about Ron Paul's fiscal policy.
Absolutely.
But it's the other 15 or 20% that's the loony fringe stuff. Like, who cares if Iran has a nuclear weapon?
Right.
You can't discount that
stuff. You can't kill Al-Awlaki in Yemen because he was an American citizen at one point 20 years ago. You can't kill the bad terrorists, Todd. That's crazy. What are we doing? Ignore them. Ignore the terrorists. They're nice people, too. They breathe. They live. Ron Paul, again, when it comes to fiscal policy, you and I absolutely agree. I want to bring something up that seems to be headlining the news again. Well, headlining the news, but not headlining the news. And it's the whole birther issue. I'm not a birther. I don't think you're a birther, although you and I haven't talked about it. But I got to tell you, to suggest that it's not important, how many have heard me say this? I was a television news anchor for 14 years. I've been a journalist for much of my life. If somebody handed me...
Stay classy, by the way.
I never fell for just read the teleprompter, never. If somebody were to come to me with a local news story in San Antonio, if they were to come to you and say, here are 6 pieces of evidence that this thing happened. 6 pieces of evidence. And we can go down a list very quickly if you want. The latest thing is Obama, some pamphlet. Have you ever done a radio station bio or a TV bio that you haven't approved or done yourself?
Do it all myself.
Exactly right. I do all of mine.
Or if somebody writes an outline, I've got to vet and approve every single thing.
The suggestion that 21 years ago, Barack Obama had no idea that somebody wrote in a pamphlet that he was born in Kenya is BS bacon sandwich. He knew it. Now, whether they did it to sell books, I don't know. I mean, what I do when I go to the bookstore, what I normally do is, this looks like an interesting book. I wonder if he was born in Kenya. Because then I would buy the book. I'm more apt to buy it if he's born in Africa somewhere.
4 words.
That doesn't make any sense.
4 words.
Yeah.
He was playing the game, International Man of Intrigue.
Did it make you buy the book?
No, I didn't buy the book.
Did it make anybody else sitting here buy the book?
I had a free copy sent to me. It went in the trash.
That's what we get, by the way, as talk show hosts. We get 73 free copies of books every week. Please put me on the show.
I use the audio from the audiobook because that was good on the air.
And it's him. Right, and it's him saying it.
It's him reading it, so that's what I did.
Just very quickly, we've got that bio that said he was born in Kenya. We've got Michelle Obama saying we're back in his homeland. I'm Italian. I went to Italy. I didn't go to my homeland. I went and visited my grandfather's homeland. I didn't go to my homeland. But we've got the whole idea that we can't see his Occidental College records. I don't know if it said that he went there on a foreign scholarship. People suggest that. We haven't seen it. Why not release it? But we've got so much suggesting that there's something fishy going on here that now we've got Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Have you interviewed this guy?
Well, I have in the past, and he's sending a new investigative
team
to
nuts?
Hawaii. Arpaio
is he okay?
He's gone off the reservation. You know, I like, or is that an Elizabeth Warren joke? I don't know.
Probably is. Yeah. No, she's Native American. Somebody 35,000 years ago said so.
You know, I like Arpaio's policy
Yeah, I do too.
Of dealing with law enforcement
Right.
in Maricopa County, in Phoenix. I mean, I agree with a lot of what he's done, but I think he's damaged his credibility by jumping onto this birther bandwagon. I don't agree.
Damage his credibility, or is there really something to the fact that this thing that they presented wasn't really the birth certificate? And look, and again, at the end of the day, I'm not. Here's the thing, and I'm only going to spend a very short amount of time on this. That's why I brought it up in the beginning, just to get it out of the way. Obama, for my money, has really, really sucked at the job. I mean, he's been horrible. And feel free. Again, it's all about ego for me. I say things to make you applaud so that my head gets bigger. Obama, for me, just hadn't been good at the job, and there's enough there to focus on to not worry about where he was born, to not worry about if he lied on some resume or some sort of a bio somewhere on a pamphlet. For me, we can focus on the policies, which I think deem him ineligible for the next for the next round. But if he were to win re-election, and we haven't properly vetted where the guy was born, because, I can say I was born in New York, but when I got my driver's license, I had to present a real birth certificate. I had to. Todd had to when he got a driver's license, when he was allowed to drive. I'm sorry, you got
still
it back,
can drive.
right?
I have not had a ticket since 1992. Can I get a round of applause?
Wow, congratulations.
Round of applause. New Jersey Turnpike, 92, 65 and a 55. Is that cheap?
That's really cheap.
That's awful.
I got a ticket right out here about 3 months ago. So
you didn't tell him you were Joe Pags?
Oh, I did. They doubled the price.
Oh, geez. You know
right.
what? You're 100% right. Let me just go back for a second. On the birther issue, I am not a birther.
Yeah.
I believe that Barack Obama was born in Hawaii. I saw the short form. We then had the release from the White House later on. My wife's sister was born in Honolulu in 1972.
Right.
So what is that? 11 years after Obama was born.
Exactly.
Same exact short form birth certificate. I've seen it. This same exact document.
I don't know if you've seen this. I actually made myself one. I was born in Hawaii too. It turns. No, I'm just kidding. See what I did there? I think you could download that short form, and I think you can make it look like one from Hawaii. There are some questions that are still out there. Do I think that he was born in Kenya? No, I'm not here to say that. Do I think he was born in Hawaii? I really don't know. What I'd like to know is when Pelosi and the idiot from Vermont who just got in the accident, Howard Dean, when they decided, hey, this is the right guy, let's put him on there, and they didn't procure a birth certificate that you can show to Todd Schnitt or to Joe Pags, I think there's a question or two there. There's something in his past that they don't want us to know about, whether it's where he was born or not. I'm with you. I don't think it's about the birth.
Joe, the bottom line is he's the president of the United States. I don't think we're going to have any continued eligibility issues here. You're going to have people that are going to second guess and always going to have the conspiracy theory.
Right.
But you hit on something correctly just a moment ago. It is done, folks. Get over it. He's the president. He's running for a second term.
Right.
There's enough to focus on with the 3.5 years of crap that he's done in Washington, in the White House. There's enough to indict him on. We don't need to go back to Jeremiah Wright. Let the Jeremiah Wright thing, it's obnoxious. I can't stand the audio bites, the excoriation of America, the degrading of this country. It makes me angry. We don't need to deal with Jeremiah Wright.
Listen,
Cory Booker was right on that sense on Meet the Press.
Calm down, Todd, before your chickens come home to roost.
Before the chickens come home to roost.
Exactly right. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, my special guest is Todd Schnitt on this town hall meeting. Okay, so we've gotten the Jeremiah Wright stuff out of the way, the birther stuff out of the way. What is the most important issue for you heading into this election this November nationally? What is the most important issue that will get you to pull the lever or press the button or push the chat or shake your rear end for either Romney or for Obama? What is it that's going to make you make that choice when you get there? Or are you already predisposed to go one way or the other? Anybody truly independent right now and they have no idea who they're going to vote for in November? Anybody? Anybody? Then all of you get out of here. All right, so everybody knows who they're going to vote for. Do we have any Obama voters in here? Wow.
Oh, this is great. Not one hand went up in the live studio audience. Not one hand has gone up.
Let's grab a quick break here, along with special guest Todd Schnitt. It's the Joe Pags Show on News Radio 1200 WOAI. Back after this. All right, glad to have you here. It's the Joe Pags Show, special town hall meeting version. We're in the Cricket Muve Lounge here at the radio station. Glad to have you along for the ride. Special guest star is Todd Schnitt, great friend of mine, great talk show host, great political mind, kind of off balance too, a little bit, but great guy. We're glad to have the live audience here. For those who wonder why I told the station photographer that if she keeps it up, I'll ground her, Sam, in fact, is my daughter, so I'm allowed to say that to Sam, the photographer who's being a smart aleck. You're in big trouble, honey. All right, so we want to get into one of the topics that has come has come out recently in the past couple of days. Sunday, basically, is when this guy, Cory Booker, who is the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, he came out Sunday, and he's a big Obama supporter, he's a big lib out of New Jersey. He came out in defense of Mitt Romney, basically, of Bain Capital, basically, saying private equity is not bad. Private equity is good. Private equity can create jobs and build business and allow for things like that to happen. Just a few short hours later, he was on a Sunday night shooting a brand new YouTube video saying, vote Obama. So today, Todd, did you see this? They actually got a hold of him.
I did.
He said that the campaign contacted him and said, hey, Cory, it's us.
Yeah, and I mentioned on my show just a little while ago, it reminds me of a scene out of Goodfellas. Why do I think that it was like, Joe Pesci with a shovel, we're going to crack you in the freaking head.
Nice.
You know, if you don't walk back your comments.
Right.
And, Joe Scarborough, who's on a hideous network, and, I agree with some of the stuff that Joe Scarborough, he's the only breath of semi-fresh air on MSNBC. Right. But Scarborough had a great line. So the setup is Cory Booker on Meet the Press on Sunday. He essentially attacks the Obama campaign for their excoriation of Bain Capital, private equity, the free market system. And also mentions that we don't need to be bringing up Reverend Wright anymore, so he sort of balanced it a little bit. Then the next, couple of hours, by Sunday night, he was doing a video, essentially walking back and recanting. And Joe Scarborough had a great line where he said it looked like a hostage video. Like, that Axelrod was off camera with a gun to his head, or we have your family. We have your family. We will only release them after you recant what you said in this YouTube video.
I hate Bain Capital. Please, they know where I live. Bain Capital, by the way, is we work for them, and I get this all the time that you're only for Romney, which, by the way, I'm for the Republican nominee. I was never a Romney guy. I was a Kane guy. Then he did his thing, and then I was a Bachmann guy. Then I was a Santorum guy. The fact that Romney is going to be the nominee, who do I vote for? Obama to prove to you that Bain Capital isn't pulling my string? No, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and we hear it all the time.
But you're on the mailing list, right? In the morning, you get the email from the bosses.
I get the
you must talk about this today.
I get email, I get brain implant, and I get fax. They're still using a fax machine. No,
which is odd. Yeah,
and this comes up a lot because I'm based out of Clear Channel in Tampa.
Right.
You're here, Clear Channel in San Antonio, and there are people that will call my show. I know you've seen the same thing, either on the air, on emails, whatever, where they think that we are only speaking kindly about Bain Capital, only because they run the company, only because Mitt Romney is the former CEO of the operation. People are convinced that we get talking points, and nothing could be further from the truth. I have never in the history of my Schnitt show been told what content I can cover, what content I can't cover. I've never gotten a blacklist, nothing. They've had nothing to do with the content of my program. And listen, I've talked about some of the good and bad of Bain Capital.
Right. 23 years in broadcasting, 9 years now with Clear Channel. I've never, ever been told to or not to talk about anything either. And like it or not, Todd, people listening, some just won't believe us. All right, when it comes to private equity, you've got three pretty loudmouth Democrats out there. You've got, as we mentioned, Cory Booker. You've got Harold Ford Jr., a former rep, I think, from Tennessee. And then you've got, who's the former New Jersey guy? Ed Rendell.
Well,
or is he Pennsylvania, right.
Yes.
So Ed Rendell comes out, and they're all saying private equity good, private equity not bad, and it's making Obama look like an idiot. Here's the comparison I made on my Houston show this morning. The comparison is this. Obama has had control of public equity for 3.5 years now. He took almost a little more than $500 million and gave it to Solyndra. Public funds from you and me, and it failed miserably. Mitt Romney made $200 million for himself. You tell me who has a better track record when it comes to spending money on building business. And if Obama thinks this is the talking point, what is he smoking?
On top of Harold Ford, on top of Ed Rendell, on top of Booker before he was held at gunpoint to walk things back a little bit, you also have Steve Ratner.
Right.
Steve Ratner.
That's a big name that people haven't heard.
And that one hasn't been thrown into the mix, and it should be. Steve Ratner was Obama's former car czar that has said that Obama has been 100% wrong in the excoriation and the demonization of private equity and the whole Bain deal.
He said Bain Capital has nothing to apologize for. In essence, again, you've got to take a look at the track record. We've added $5 trillion in debt under Obama. We're running a $1.3 trillion deficit this year alone, and Mitt Romney is building an elevator in his house for a car. So you tell me who did a better job. And listen, I have no problem with Mitt Romney. If I could have an elevator in my house for a car, you think I wouldn't do it? Hello.
You see the latest?
Of course I would.
I think it might have been the L.A. Times as a piece out, and they're trying to go after
his wife likes horses, it turns
and
out.
horses,
yeah.
her equestrian likes, and the clothing she wears. Leave her alone. You know what? Mitt Romney and his $200 to $300 million net worth. Leave it alone. Be proud of that. If anything, I mean, everyone in this room ought to be applauding Mitt Romney for taking the American spirit, the American way, and making himself a multi-millionaire. It's that mindset, it's that attitude that we need running this country to make it better for everyone in this country.
I would like to see a show of hands right now for those of you who would say no to having $200 million. Right now, anybody? Anyway, hold on. Anybody? All the liberals listening, please raise your hand as you're driving down I-10. I can see you. Yeah, nobody's raising their hands. It's so weird. You would accept the money, but Mitt Romney he's no good, and his wife likes horses. My God. All right, when we come back, we're going to take some phone calls. 737-1200, 1-800-383-WOAI. We're going to walk around. Peter's going to walk around. He's going to work off all the food he ate. But before did you see what Peter ate earlier? Program director's food. It's a good marriage.
Hey, Ann Romney, though. I mean, MS, cancer. What a fighter. What a phenomenal woman.
Yeah, but it all goes out the window. She likes horses. Hello.
Yeah. Really.
All right. So we've got Peter's going to walk around with the microphone. If you've got questions in the audience for Todd Schnitt, nationally syndicated host, great guy, good friend of mine, and seriously, he's one of the best minds you're going to hear on the radio. I hope that you check out his program. And then little old me. We're going to be back after this on News Radio 1200 WOAI. Great to have you here. Thanks a lot for stopping by today. 737-1200, 1-800-383-WOAI. You can watch it on Ustream. Just go to the radio zone of WOAI.com online, and I believe it's right there in the front page, right, Peter? Do you have to go to my part of the website? Go to my part. It's right there. Okay, click on the Ustream deal. You can watch us on the internet. We're waving at you sarcastically. Good to see you. Also, hey, Carrie, so you're not going to come down? That's the story? Well, the 35 people down here, most of them here to see you. Actually, when I mentioned your name, one person clapped. And he's got a look in his eye. I might stay away if I were you. No, come down and grab some food. We've got Eat Out In down here. What are you kidding me? I stopped by a minute ago. You look like you're starving up there.
Yeah, we're also passing out free Facebook shares.
That's absolutely right. They're actually giving them away now. Yeah, that worked out well. All right, so Todd, you wanted to give us a quote from a Democrat when we came back.
You know, this holds true, and I'd love to, when we pass the mic around, see if this holds true. It's James Carville.
Right.
It's the economy, stupid. And it really is. And I think ultimately that's Romney's best chance. You know, I look at Romney, and many consider him a moderate. Some will call Romney a lightweight. I actually see a Reagan-esque opportunity for Mitt Romney to really repair and fix this country and bring pride and greatness back. I think that if he wins, and where we sit now, I really do think it's a toss-up. I think where we sit on this day, what are we at, May 22nd? I think it's a 50-50 toss-up. You know, in politics, what are we, 5 months or so away from the election?
Right.
That's eternity. And a lot can happen between now and then. But I'm really looking forward to Romney, who's going to be the nominee. We know that. I think he has an opportunity to restore this country to greatness.
Without having talked to you about this beforehand, I think you're absolutely right. I believe that this is the second term of Jimmy Carter. I believe we see a downturn in nationalism, in the economy, and foreign relations, just like we did under Jimmy Carter. Ronald Reagan came in, smiled that wry smile, and said the right things, and then put the right policies in place by cutting taxes and getting us back on the right track, by saying, I'm proud to be an American again. I don't think that Ronald Reagan would ever have not lit the national Christmas tree because we had hostages somewhere. I just think that Jimmy Carter was a debacle, and the fact is we just reelected him. But there were a couple of different things going on. People were unhappy about what happened in 2007 and 2008. People were ready, I think, for a minority president, somebody other than an old white guy. And there are a lot of things that sort of coalesced to have President Obama have this opportunity. I think he's one and done. I think it's more than 50-50 in Romney's favor right now if he does it right. All right, so let's pass. What do you guys think about that? Let's pass around the microphone. Anything on your mind when it comes to the national election, President Obama? When I say what is the most important thing, Todd's right. It's the economy, stupid. By the way, Carville also said if Obama loses by less than 5 percentage points, we're a racist nation. We'll ignore that. But when it comes to what you're focusing on for this election, what is it? Is it that you just can't stand a left-wing liberal, or is there something tangible you can say, my life is worse because of this guy, here's why he should lose? Or here's why he should win.
What's your name?
What's your name?
Paul Duggar.
And Paul, where are you from?
I'm from here in San Antonio.
A little close. Hold that mic a little closer. There you go.
I'm from here in San Antonio. I'm a retired.
Thanks for making the long drive in. Appreciate it.
I'm a retired police lieutenant, and I'm an older guy, but I have a 7-year-old because I married a younger woman.
All right, good for you.
I am.
And he gets a round of applause. That's my audience right there.
I am very concerned about the economy because I've got a young man that's going to grow up in a world that's going to be a whole lot different than the world I was able to grow up in. And I am not happy with Obama, but I am not particularly happy with the Republican Party and their selection of Mitt Romney at this point in time. I hope he does what you say he's going to do, Todd, but right now I do see him as a lightweight.
What do you hear nationally when you're getting all the phone calls from people all around town, even outside of San Antonio? What are you hearing when it comes to Romney? I hear a lot of that. Romney's too much of a lightweight, as you said, or too much of a moderate. I'm not happy with their selection.
Right. A lot of people are not convinced. They don't appreciate or respect. They don't think he has conservative bona fides. Listen, I think that Romney has a clean slate. He'll have, if he's elected, he has the ability, I think, to do a lot of great things. I think this man, just with business acumen alone, when you look at his turnaround, for instance, of the Salt Lake City games,
He saved them.
This guy has the chops to do it. And I said from the beginning that the party will coalesce, and we have seen that. That while Romney certainly was not the number one choice of many individuals, and you bounce back and forth, you said, Joe.
Yeah.
I mean, what do we have? We had like 6 different front runners, 7 different times. Is
Right.
that the stat? Yep. I mean, I knew, and I predicted this. I knew in May of 11. Or make that March of 11. So over a year ago, I predicted that Romney was going to be the nominee. Now, I should have put some money down like I did bet on the Kentucky Derby horse. I did win.
I thought you bought some Facebook shares. Yeah.
No, but I think that Romney has the ability, and I keep going back to Reagan. I think that there is a Reagan-esque opportunity for him to bring economic greatness back to this country, bring pride back to this country. Obama had an opportunity. The president of the United States, Obama had an opportunity, but he let, I think, the tentacles of his ideology get in the way.
I think what's interesting about Romney is that he's not Reagan because he doesn't have the personality. I think he's got a personality, but it's not Reagan. And if we hold our breath and we wait for Reagan to show back up, that's going to be a problem. The alternative is what, Ron Paul? Well, that's not going to happen this time around. Maybe in 4 years, well, he'll be 82 or whatever. At the end of the day, we've got a choice between Obama, who I think you and I don't agree with, and then you've got Romney, who we agree with much more than we agree with Obama. Is it the lesser of two evils? Is it turning your vote towards somebody who's going to be most like you? I've said this on my show 14 billion times. I counted before I came up. 14 billion times I've said, vote for the guy or the gal who is most like you at the end of the day, who has a chance to win. I hear a lot of people saying, I'm going to vote for Ron Paul. I'm going to put my mother's name down there. Well, what you're doing is you're giving half a vote to Obama then.
You're wasting the vote.
Right.
And the bottom line is look at this in totality. Look at Obama, look at Mitt Romney, and yeah, you might not agree with a lot of Mitt Romney's positions. You might look at Romney Care in Massachusetts. I mean, I don't know how anyone with a rational mind and even one iota of sanity can even begin to compare Mitt Romney on any level with Barack Obama. That's insanity.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. All right, who's next? Who else has a question here? Yes, ma'am. What's your name?
My name is Samantha Reyna. I'm also here from San Antonio.
Wow, again, thank you. You okay? You tired?
Yes, I am. Gosh, that drive. Just a short story. I grew up in a multiracial relationship. My father's Hispanic. My mother's white. When I was born, my mother was only 19 years old, and my dad was digging ditches. And he now is a successful business owner.
Good.
So he pulled himself up by his bootstraps. My mother has a doctorate. When I was born, she had a high school diploma.
Beautiful.
So I think that's just exactly what, the American dream personifies, is that anybody, regardless of who you are, our government will give all these, different government programs, and people
Right.
begin to depend on those instead of using what's out there, going out there and, like I said, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and succeeding. And that's what this country is about. But I feel like Obama wants to stomp on that. He wants to only make there be, public government agencies to allow us to do anything
Right.
and everything.
Well, you're talking about an entitlement society. And,
Exactly.
President Obama is the perfect poster child of you can do anything in America. He is the president of the United States. And you're right on target. You are spot on in the fact that what's happening with the Obama policies and large government and government handouts and people on the government dole is it suppresses the American way. It suppresses the capitalistic drive
Right.
for people to be successful. Everyone has a clean slate in this country, and even people that have had a rough roll of the dice, even people that have been incarcerated, have come out, turned their lives around, become clean, and they've become successful. And what you're saying is, how old are you, by the way, if you don't
I'm
mind?
25.
You know what? You're an astute, smart, intelligent 25-year-old, because you're right. Because what it does is, with the government handouts and entitlements, it starts to change the landscape, and it makes people dependent on government versus being dependent on themselves.
Right. I got to hit a break here. Very well said, Todd. Very well said, Samantha. I'm going to, when we come back, I'll tell you, I think Obama's doing that on purpose. I think he's doing it on purpose, and I'll illustrate that when we come back on the Joe Pag Show. News Radio 1200 WOAI. Stay here.